first thing you learn as a contractor is that houses lie. They'll show you a pretty face while termites eat the bones, hide rot behind fresh paint, mask foundation problems with clever landscaping. What I didn't expect was that my marriage would teach me the same lesson. My name is Tom Harris, and I've been building things for 20 years. Houses, decks, dreams, you name it. I've hammered it together. But sitting in my truck outside Starbucks on this gray October morning, watching my wife Jenna laugh with some guy I don't recognize, I'm starting to think I might have missed some crucial structural damage in my own life. Jenna doesn't see me. She's too busy touching this stranger's arm, leaning in close like she's sharing state secrets. The guy is everything I'm not. Pressed khakis, polo shirt, the kind of haircut that costs more than my work boots. He's got one of those gym-sculpted builds that screams personal trainer or real estate agent. Maybe both. I should feel angry. Hell, I should march in there and demand answers. Instead, I'm sitting here with my coffee getting cold, thinking about how Jenna used to touch my arm like that, back when I was building our future instead of just paying for it. My phone buzzes. Text from Jenna. Working late tonight. Client dinner. Don't wait up. I check the timestamp. She sent it 3 minutes ago, while I'm watching her giggle with Mr. Perfect through the window. The client dinner is apparently happening at 10:47 a.m. on a Tuesday and involves a lot more touching than most business meetings I've attended. The smart play would be to drive away, pretend I never saw this. Go home, kiss my daughter Sophie goodbye before school, and spend the day pretending my world isn't shifting on its foundation. But 20 years of construction work has taught me something else. When you spot a crack, you don't ignore it. You investigate. Because small cracks become big problems, and big problems bring the whole structure down. I pull out my phone and snap a photo. Not for evidence, not yet, just for confirmation that I'm not losing my mind. The camera doesn't lie like houses do. Or wives. Jenna stands up, and for a moment I think she's leaving. Instead, she moves to sit beside Mr. Perfect, sliding into the booth with practiced ease. They look comfortable together. Familiar. This isn't their first coffee date. My phone rings, making me jump. Sophie's school. Mr. Harris? This is Principal Martinez. Sophie's feeling sick and needs to be picked up. On my way, I say, grateful for the excuse to leave. But as I drive toward the elementary school, I can't shake the image of Jenna's hand on that stranger's arm. The way she smiled at him. Bright, genuine, alive. She hasn't smiled at me like that in months. Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Sophie is waiting in the nurse's office, looking pale but alert. At 12, she's got her mother's dark hair and my stubborn chin. She also has an uncanny ability to read people, which makes her both a blessing and a complication. You okay, kiddo? I ask, pressing my hand to her forehead. I'm fine now, she says, but her eyes are studying my face. Are you okay, Dad? You look weird. Just tired. Come on, let's get you home. We drive in comfortable silence until Sophie speaks up. Mom's been acting strange lately. My hands tighten on the steering wheel. Strange how? She's always on her phone, and she keeps talking about this apartment she looked at, says it's just in case. Sophie makes air quotes with her fingers. Just in case what? Good question. Jenna mentioned the apartment last month, claiming she found a great deal on a rental property, an investment opportunity. I didn't think much of it then, but combined with this morning's coffee date, it's starting to form a pattern I don't like. People sometimes need backup plans, I say carefully. For what? Are you guys getting divorced? The question hits me like a hammer to the chest. Sophie's voice is matter of fact, but I can hear the worry underneath. No, sweetheart. Your mom and I are just working through some things. Okay. She doesn't sound convinced. Can I stay home with you today? I promise I'm not really sick. I just didn't want to deal with the math test. I should make her go back to school. Instead, I find myself nodding. One day won't hurt, but you owe me some help with the Peterson deck this afternoon. Her face lights up. Sophie loves construction work almost as much as I do. She's got steady hands and an eye for detail that most adults lack. More importantly, working together gives us time to talk without the distractions of phones, television, or whatever crisis is currently consuming Jenna's attention. We spend the afternoon measuring and cutting boards for the Petersons' new deck. Sophie holds the tape measure while I mark cuts, and for a few hours, I can almost forget about the coffee shop scene. Almost. Dad? Sophie's voice is quiet. Do you think Mom loves us? The question stops me cold. I set down my pencil and really look at my daughter. She's trying to appear casual, but her shoulders are tense. Of course she does. Why would you ask that? She never wants to do stuff with us anymore. And when she is home, she seems, I don't know, like she'd rather be somewhere else. Out of the mouths of babes. Sophie has put her finger on something I've been trying to ignore for months. Jenna has been physically present but emotionally absent, going through the motions of family life while her attention is clearly elsewhere. Sometimes adults get distracted by work and other responsibilities, I say. It doesn't mean she doesn't love you. What about you? Does she love you? I wish I had a better answer. I hope so, kiddo. I really hope so. That evening, Jenna comes home at nearly midnight, smelling like wine and expensive cologne that isn't mine. She finds me in the kitchen, nursing a cup of coffee and reviewing the Peterson project plans. "You're up late," she says, kicking off her heels. "Waiting for you. How was the client dinner?" "Exhausting. You know how these real estate people are. They never stop talking." She opens the refrigerator and pulls out a bottle of water. "Did Sophie get over her stomach bug?" "She's fine. Spent the afternoon helping me with the Peterson deck." "Good. I was worried." But she doesn't ask for details, doesn't seem particularly interested in our daughter's day. Instead, she's checking her phone again, scrolling through messages with a slight smile. "Jenna." "Hmm?" She doesn't look up. "We need to talk?" Now I have her attention. She sets down the phone and faces me, but her expression is guarded. "About what?" "About us. About whatever's going on with you lately." "Nothing's going on. I'm just busy with work. The market is crazy right now, and I'm trying to build my client base." "By having coffee dates at 10 in the morning?" The color drains from her face. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then Jenna straightens her shoulders and lifts her chin, a gesture I recognize as her preparing for battle. "Are you following me now?" "I was getting coffee. You were there with some guy I've never seen before, looking pretty cozy for a business meeting." "His name is Eric. He's a real estate agent. We were discussing a potential partnership." "What kind of partnership requires that much touching?" Jenna's eyes flash. "I can't believe you're jealous of a business meeting. This is exactly why I need some space." "Space?" "Yes, space. Room to breathe, to grow, to figure out what I want without feeling like I'm under constant surveillance." The words sting, but they also clarify something that's been nagging at me. "Is that what the apartment is for? Space?" She hesitates just long enough to confirm my suspicions. "Maybe. I don't know. I just think it would be good to have options." "Options." I repeat the word, tasting its bitterness. "In case what exactly?" "In case this doesn't work out." She gestures between us. "In case we decide we want different things. In case marriages fail, Tom, which they do, all the time." There it is. The crack I spotted this morning has just opened into a chasm. My wife is preparing for the end of our marriage while I'm still trying to save it. "And Eric? Where does he fit into your options?" "He's a friend. Someone who understands what I'm going through." "What you're going through? What exactly are you going through, Jenna?" She stares at me for a long moment, and I see something in her eyes that chills me. Not guilt or remorse, but calculation. She's weighing her words, deciding how much truth to reveal. "I'm going through a marriage to someone who doesn't understand me anymore. Someone who's content to build other people's dreams while ours collect dust. Someone who thinks love means staying in the same place forever. I thought our dream was building something together, a family, a life. Your dream, Tom. Your dream of suburban perfection and white picket fences. I never signed up to be a contractor's wife who spends her evenings alone while you work late on other people's projects." The accusation is unfair, and we both know it. I work hard to provide for our family, and Jenna has never wanted for anything. But I can see there's no point in arguing. She's already made up her mind about us, about me, about what she wants her life to look like. "So what now?" I ask. "Now we figure out how to move forward. Maybe we try counseling, maybe we take a break. Maybe we accept that people grow apart, and it's nobody's fault. But I can see in her eyes that she's already chosen her path. The apartment isn't a backup plan, it's a launching pad. And Eric isn't just a business partner. He's her ticket to whatever life she thinks she wants. I think, I say carefully, that you should take that apartment." Surprise flickers across her face. She was expecting a fight, tears, desperate pleas to work things out. Instead, I'm giving her exactly what she wants. And it's clearly not the reaction she anticipated. "You do?" "Yeah, if you need space to figure things out, then take it. But be honest about what you're doing, Jenna, with me, with Sophie, and with yourself." "I am being honest?" "No, you're not. You're preparing for the end while pretending you want to save the marriage. You're seeing another man while calling it business. You're planning your exit while making me the bad guy for not understanding your needs." She opens her mouth to argue, then closes it. For a moment, I see a flash of the woman I married. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. Then the mask slides back into place. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I should take the apartment." "Maybe you should." We stand there in our kitchen, surrounded by the life we built together, and I realize we're both already gone. The only question now is who leaves first, and how much damage we'll do on the way out. Jenna picks up her phone and heads for the stairs. "I'll look into it tomorrow." "Good night, Jenna." She pauses at the bottom of the steps. "Tom, I really didn't want it to be like this." "I know," I say, and I mean it. "But it is like this, so now we deal with it." After she goes upstairs, I sit alone in the kitchen for a long time, thinking about foundations and structural integrity, about the difference between fixing something and rebuilding from scratch, about the moment when you realize that no amount of patching and reinforcement will save a structure that's fundamentally unsound. Tomorrow, I'll start making plans of my own. Because if there's one thing 20 years of construction has taught me, it's that when something is beyond repair, the smartest thing you can do is tear it down and build something better in its place. But first, I need to understand exactly what I'm working with. Time to do some investigating of my own. The next morning, I wake up to an empty bed and the sound of Jenna's car pulling out of the driveway. She's gone before 7, which is unusual for someone whose first client meeting typically isn't until 9. I check my phone and find a text sent 20 minutes ago. "Early showing. Back tonight." Sophie appears in the kitchen as I'm making coffee, already dressed for school and looking more alert than any 12-year-old should at 7 a.m. "Mom left early," she observes, grabbing a banana from the counter. "Work stuff." "Right." She doesn't believe it any more than I do. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Always." "If you and Mom get divorced, do I get to choose who I live with?" The question hits me like a sledgehammer, but Sophie's tone is purely practical. She's not emotional about it. She's gathering information, making contingency plans. Just like her mother, apparently. "Where is this coming from?" "Nowhere specific. I just want to know how it works." I sit down across from her, abandoning my coffee. "In most cases, yes. At your age, judges usually consider your preference. But Sophie, your mom and I aren't getting divorced, I know. You're working through things." She makes the air quotes again. "But if you were, hypothetically, I'd want to live with you." "Why?" "Because you actually want to be here. Mom acts like this house is a prison sentence." The observation is painfully accurate. I reach across and squeeze her hand. "Whatever happens between your mom and me, we both love you. That will never change." "I know. But love and wanting to be around someone aren't the same thing." Sometimes I wonder if Sophie is actually 12 or 35. Her emotional intelligence consistently amazes and worries me in equal measure. After dropping her at school, I drive to my current job site, but my mind isn't on the kitchen renovation I'm supposed to be finishing. Instead, I'm thinking about Jenna's sudden early morning departure and her mysterious client meetings. My phone rings as I'm measuring cabinet spaces. It's my best friend and occasional work partner, Richie Morrison. Richie's a former bouncer turned carpenter who has the useful combination of loyalty, discretion, and a complete lack of moral qualms about bending rules when the situation calls for it. "Tommy boy," he says without preamble. "We need to talk." "I'm working." "This is more important than cabinets. Meet me at Murphy's in an hour." Murphy's Diner is our usual spot for conversations that require privacy and strong coffee. Richie is already there when I arrive, occupying a corner booth and looking uncharacteristically serious. "What's going on?" I ask, sliding into the opposite seat. "That's what I want to know. Jenny Martinez saw Jenna at the Marriott yesterday afternoon with some pretty boy in expensive clothes." Jenny Martinez is Richie's girlfriend and the town's most reliable source of gossip. If she saw something, it definitely happened. They were having lunch? They were going into a room together. Around 2 p.m., Jenny was there for her cousin's wedding planning meeting. The information settles in my stomach like a lead weight. Yesterday afternoon, while Sophie and I were working on the Peterson deck, Jenna was at a hotel with Eric. The timing makes perfect sense. She knew I'd be busy with work, and Sophie would be in school. "You sure it was her?" "Jenny's sure. She said Jenna looked different, happier, like she was excited about something." I stare into my coffee cup, processing this confirmation of what I already suspected. It's one thing to catch your wife having coffee with another man. It's another to learn she's meeting him at hotels. "What are you going to do?" Richie asks. "I don't know yet." "Want some advice?" "Do I have a choice?" "Document everything. get evidence. And whatever you do, don't confront her until you know exactly what you're dealing with. Richie's been through 2 divorces, both messy. His advice comes from hard-earned experience. I'm not ready for that conversation yet. Then get ready, because from where I'm sitting, that conversation is coming whether you want it or not. He's right, of course. But there's a difference between knowing something intellectually and being emotionally prepared to act on it. I need more information before I can decide how to handle this situation. Can Jenny find out more, without being obvious about it? Probably. She's got friends all over town. What specifically do you want to know? Everything. How long this has been going on. How serious it is. Whether other people know about it. And if they do know, then I need to understand exactly how public my humiliation has become. Richie nods grimly. I'll make some calls. We part ways, and I spend the rest of the day trying to focus on work while my mind churns through possibilities. By the time I pick up Sophie from school, I've developed the beginning of a plan. How was your day? I ask as she buckles her seatbelt. Fine. Mrs. Peterson asked if you're almost done with their deck. Almost. Why? She wants to throw a party when it's finished. Said the whole neighborhood should see your work. An idea begins forming. What kind of party? I don't know. A barbecue or something. She seemed really excited about it. Mrs. Peterson is one of those women who knows everyone's business and isn't shy about sharing it. If Jenna's affair is becoming public knowledge, Mrs. Peterson would definitely be aware of it. A neighborhood party would be an interesting test of how people react to seeing Jenna and me together. Tell her I think that's a great idea. That evening, Jenna comes home at her usual time, carrying takeout bags and looking slightly flustered. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was terrible, and I had to grab dinner. No problem. How was the early showing? Good. Really good, actually. The clients are very interested. She's lying smoothly, but I notice she won't quite meet my eyes. Also, her clothes are slightly wrinkled, and her hair looks like it's been recently combed but not professionally styled. Small details, but they paint a picture. That's great. What kind of property? A condo downtown, great location, perfect for a young professional. Anyone I know? Now she does look at me, and I see a flicker of wariness. I don't think so. He's new to the area. He, singular. Interesting choice of pronoun for a couple buying property together. Well, I'm glad it went well. We eat dinner with Sophie, making small talk about school and work. Jenna seems distracted, checking her phone frequently and smiling at messages I can't see. After Sophie goes upstairs to do homework, Jenna announces she's going out. Girls' night. Ava's having relationship drama and needs to vent. Ava is Jenna's best friend, a real estate agent who shares Jenna's taste for expensive clothes and complicated personal situations. They've been friends since college, and their girls' nights have become increasingly frequent over the past few months. Have fun, I say. You're not going to ask when I'll be home? Should I? She studies my face, clearly puzzled by my lack of reaction. I'll probably be late. You know how Ava gets when she's upset? I'll leave the porch light on. After she leaves, I call Richie. Jenny struck gold, he says immediately. Jenna and this Eric guy have been seen together all over town for the past 2 months. Coffee shops, restaurants, the gym. And get this, he's the one who helped her find that apartment? The backup plan apartment? Exactly. Except according to Jenny's friend who works at the leasing office, it's not in Jenna's name, it's in his. This information reframes everything. The apartment isn't Jenna's escape hatch, it's their love nest. She's been planning this for months, setting up a new life with Eric while maintaining the pretense of trying to save our marriage. There's more, Richie continues. Eric's got a reputation. He's been through 3 relationships in the past 2 years, always with married women. Guy's got a pattern. What kind of pattern? He targets unhappy wives, promises them excitement and freedom, then moves on once the novelty wears off. Jenny's friend thinks he gets off on the thrill of breaking up marriages. The picture is becoming clearer, and it's worse than I initially thought. Jenna isn't just having an affair, she's being played by someone who specializes in destroying families for sport. What's his last name? Lawson. Eric Lawson. Works for Premium Properties downtown. Thanks, Richie. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. Just promise me you won't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Anything that involves violence, property damage, or criminal charges. I promise. After hanging up, I spend the evening researching Eric Lawson online. His social media presence is extensive and carefully curated. Professional photos, expensive vacations, gym selfies, and testimonials from satisfied clients. He's handsome in a generic way, with a kind of smile that probably works well on lonely housewives. More interesting are the photos from the past few months. Several show him at local restaurants and events, and I spot Jenna in the background of at least 3. They've been hiding in plain sight, counting on the fact that most people don't pay close attention to other people's social media posts. But I'm paying attention now, and I'm starting to see the scope of their deception. Around midnight, I hear Jenna's car in the driveway. She comes in quietly, trying not to wake anyone, but I'm waiting in the kitchen with a cup of tea and my laptop. "You're still up," she says, looking guilty. "Couldn't sleep. How's Ava?" "Better. We talked through her situation, and I think she knows what she needs to do." "What kind of situation?" Jenna hesitates. "Her boyfriend is cheating on her. She found out last week." The irony is almost too much to bear. "That's terrible. What's she going to do about it?" "Leave him. She says there's no point trying to fix something that's fundamentally broken." Smart woman. Yes, she is. We look at each other across the kitchen, and I wonder if she realizes what she's just said, that relationships broken by cheating can't be fixed, that the smart thing to do is leave. "Tom, about yesterday, our conversation." "What about it?" "I've been thinking about what you said, about being honest." My pulse quickens. Is she actually going to tell me the truth? And? "I think you're right. I think we both need to be more honest about what we want." "Okay. What do you want, Jenna?" She takes a deep breath. "I want to feel alive again. I want to feel like my life is going somewhere instead of just standing still. I want to feel valued and appreciated and desired. And you don't feel those things with me." "Not anymore. I'm sorry, but no." It hurts to hear, but I appreciate the honesty. Finally. "So what do you want to do about it?" "I think we should try a separation. A real one. I'll take the apartment and we'll see how it feels to have some space." "What about Sophie?" "She can stay here during the week with me on weekends. This is her home, and I don't want to disrupt her routine." It's a reasonable proposal, and it gives me exactly what I need. Time and space to figure out my next move without having to pretend everything is normal. "Okay," I say. "When?" "Soon, maybe next week." "That works." She looks surprised again. "You're being very understanding about this." "I want you to be happy, Jenna, even if that means we can't be happy together." It's not entirely true, but it's what she needs to hear. And it establishes me as the reasonable, supportive husband who only wants what's best for his family. That perception will be important later. "Thank you," she says softly. "I know this isn't easy." "No, it's not. But neither is staying in a marriage that makes us both miserable." She nods and heads upstairs, leaving me alone with my thoughts and my laptop. I spend another hour researching Eric Lawson, learning everything I can about his business practices, his personal history, and his social connections. By the time I go to bed, I have the beginning of a plan. Jenna wants honesty. She's going to get more honesty than she bargained for. Eric wants to play games with other people's marriages. He's about to discover that some husbands play back. But first, I need to make sure Sophie is protected from whatever's coming. Because if there's one thing I've learned from 20 years of construction work, it's that when you're tearing down a structure, you better make sure the foundation is solid enough to support what you're building in its place. The separation happens faster than I expected. Within a week, Jenna has moved most of her clothes and personal items to what she calls the apartment, but never quite describes. She's careful not to mention Eric's involvement, maintaining the fiction that this is just a trial separation to help us both gain perspective. Sophie handles the news with the same practical acceptance she's shown throughout this entire mess. When Jenna explains that Mommy needs some space to think about things, Sophie just nods and asks if she can redecorate the guest room since Mom won't be using it anymore. "You can do whatever you want with it," I tell her. "It's your house, too." "Can we make it into a workshop, somewhere I can build things?" The request makes my chest tight with pride and sadness. My daughter wants to build things while her mother is busy tearing them apart. "Absolutely. We'll go to the hardware store this weekend and get everything you need." With Jenna gone, the house feels different, quieter, but also more peaceful. Sophie and I develop new routines, breakfast together before school, homework at the kitchen table while I cook dinner, weekend projects that teach her practical skills while giving us time to talk. It's during one of these conversations that Sophie drops a bombshell. "I know about Mom's boyfriend," she says casually while we're staining the shelves for her new workshop. I nearly drop my brush. "What?" "Eric, the real estate guy. I saw them together at the mall last month." "Sophie." "It's okay, Dad. I'm not stupid. I know what's going on." I set down my brush and really look at my daughter. She's focused on her work, applying stain with careful, even strokes, but her jaw is set in a way that reminds me of myself when I'm angry. How do you feel about that? Mad. Not because she has a boyfriend, but because she's lying about it. If she wants to be with someone else, she should just say so instead of pretending this is about needing space. It's complicated, kiddo. No, it's not. She's choosing him over us. That's not complicated, it's just mean. Sophie's assessment is brutally accurate and completely unfair to burden her with. But she's clearly been thinking about this for a while, and I'd rather she talk to me about it than keep it bottled up inside. Your mom loves you very much. Whatever's happening between her and me doesn't change that. Maybe, but love is supposed to mean something, right? It's supposed to mean you don't hurt people on purpose. I don't have a good answer for that, so I just nod and we continue working in comfortable silence. But Sophie's words stick with me. Love is supposed to mean you don't hurt people on purpose. By that definition, Jenna stopped loving me a long time ago. My phone buzzes with a text from Richie. Coffee tomorrow? I have updates. The next morning, I meet Richie at Murphy's Diner, where he's already claimed our usual booth and ordered enough food for 3 people. You look terrible, he says by way of greeting. Thanks. You said you had updates? Jenny's been busy. Turns out your wife and Eric aren't as discreet as they think they are. He slides a manila folder across the table. Inside are printouts of social media posts, photos, and what looks like a timeline written in Jenny's neat handwriting. They've been together since at least August, Richie continues. Maybe longer. Jenny found photos from a work conference in Boston where they're definitely together, even though Jenna told you she was going alone. I remember that conference. Jenna was gone for 4 days and came back talking about new opportunities and feeling inspired about her career. Apparently Eric was the inspiration. There's more. Eric's got a side business flipping houses, but he's not exactly ethical about it. Jenny's friend in the building department says he's been flagged for some questionable inspection reports. What kind of questionable? The kind where problems mysteriously appear after he's made an offer, allowing him to renegotiate the price down. Then the problems disappear again after he owns the property. This information is interesting for several reasons. First, it suggests Eric isn't as successful as his social media presence implies. Second, it gives me potential leverage if I need it. Third, it explains why he might be interested in a married woman with assets to protect. Is he targeting Jenna for her money? Hard to say, but Jenny noticed that all his previous relationships were with women who had something he wanted. The first one owned a successful restaurant. The second one was a divorce attorney with useful connections. The third one was married to a city council member. And Jenna? Jenna's married to a contractor who knows every building inspector, city planner, and property developer in 3 counties. The pieces click into place. Eric isn't just stealing my wife, he's stealing my professional network. The contacts I've built over 20 years of honest work, he's planning to exploit for his shady house-flipping operation. Son of a... I catch myself before finishing the curse. We're in public, and I need to maintain the image of the reasonable, wronged husband. Yeah, Richie agrees. Guy's a real piece of work. What else? They're not being subtle anymore. Jenny's seen them together at least 6 times in the past 2 weeks. Always during the day, always when they think nobody's watching. But this is a small town, Tommy. People notice. Are people talking? Some. Most folks feel bad for you. A few think Jenna's having a midlife crisis and will come to her senses. But yeah, it's becoming public knowledge. The humiliation stings, but it's also useful information. If people are already talking, then I don't need to worry about protecting Jenna's reputation. She's already damaged it herself. I need to ask you something, I say, and I need you to be completely honest. Always. If I wanted to make Eric's life difficult, legally, ethically, but very publicly, would you help me? Richie grins, and for a moment, I see the bouncer he used to be. Tommy, I've been waiting for you to ask that question for weeks. We spend the next hour planning what Richie calls Operation Payback. Nothing illegal, nothing violent, nothing that could hurt Sophie or reflect badly on me as a father, but definitely something that will expose Eric for what he is and show Jenna exactly what kind of man she's chosen over her family. The first phase is information gathering. Richie and Jenny will document Eric's business practices and personal habits. I'll focus on understanding the full scope of his relationship with Jenna and how long they've been planning this betrayal. The second phase is exposure. We'll make sure the right people know about Eric's questionable business practices and his pattern of targeting married women. Not gossip or rumors, but documented facts that speak for themselves. The third phase is consequences. Once Eric's reputation is damaged and his business is under scrutiny, we'll see how committed he is to his relationship with Jenna. My guess is that a man who specializes in exploiting vulnerable women won't stick around when the situation becomes complicated. What if Jenna gets caught in the crossfire? Richie asks. Then she deals with the consequences of her choices. I'm not going to protect someone who's actively working to destroy my family. And if she comes back, realizes she made a mistake and wants to work things out? I consider this possibility. A month ago, I would have welcomed Jenna back with open arms, grateful for another chance to save our marriage. Now, after learning the extent of her deception and manipulation, I'm not sure I want her back. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Right now, I'm focused on making sure Sophie and I come out of this okay. Fair enough. When do we start? We already have. You and Jenny keep gathering information. I'm going to have a conversation with Mrs. Peterson about that neighborhood party she wants to throw. Mrs. Peterson is delighted to hear from me. The deck is finished and looks spectacular, and she's eager to show it off to the entire neighborhood. We schedule the party for the following Saturday, and she promises to invite everyone within a 6-block radius. Should I invite Jenna? She asks carefully. Of course, she's still Sophie's mother and part of this community. And her friend? So Mrs. Peterson knows about Eric. Interesting. Invite whoever you think would enjoy the party. It's your event. I understand completely. Don't worry, Tom. This neighborhood takes care of its own. The conversation confirms what Richie told me. People are talking, and the general sentiment is supportive of me and critical of Jenna's behavior. This gives me a significant advantage in the court of public opinion. That evening, I call Jenna to tell her about the party. Mrs. Peterson wants to celebrate the deck project, I explain. She's invited the whole neighborhood. I thought you might want to come for Sophie's sake. I don't know if that's a good idea. People might feel awkward with both of us there. Why would they feel awkward? You know why, Tom. Because of the separation. Or because of Eric. Silence on the other end of the line. Then? How do you know about Eric? This is a small town, Jenna. People notice things. It's not what you think? What do I think? That we're having an affair, meeting at hotels, planning a life together while lying to your husband and daughter? Another long silence. When she speaks again, her voice is defensive. You don't understand the situation. Then explain it to me. I can't. It's complicated. No, it's not. You're cheating on me with a man who has a history of breaking up marriages for sport. You've been lying to me for months, maybe longer, and you're using our separation as cover to move in with him while maintaining the fiction that you're just taking time to think about our relationship. That's not true? Which part isn't true, Jenna? She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. The party is Saturday at 6. I continue. Sophie would like you to be there, but if you come, come alone. I won't have Eric in my neighborhood, around my daughter, pretending to be part of this community. You can't tell me who I can and can't bring to a party. I can't tell you anything, but I can tell Mrs. Peterson that she shouldn't expect you to attend if you're planning to bring uninvited guests. It's her party, her house, her guest list. This is ridiculous. This is consequences. You want to live your life publicly with Eric? Fine. But you don't get to do it on my turf, around my friends, at a party celebrating work I did with my own hands. Fine. I won't come at all. That's your choice, but Sophie will be disappointed. Don't use Sophie to manipulate me. I'm not manipulating anyone. I'm telling you the truth. Your daughter wants her mother at this party, but she doesn't want to be embarrassed by her mother's boyfriend showing up and making everyone uncomfortable. Sophie said that? Sophie knows about Eric. She's known for weeks. She's handling this situation with more maturity than either of her parents. This hits home. I can hear Jenna's sharp intake of breath. I never wanted her to find out like this. Then you should have thought about that before you started parading around town with another man. I wasn't parading. You were seen together at the mall, at restaurants, at the gym. You went to a work conference together. You're living in his apartment. How is that not parading around? I need to think about this. You do that. The party starts at 6. You're welcome to come alone if you want to support your daughter and maintain some connection to the community you're abandoning. After hanging up, I feel a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. Satisfaction because I finally confronted Jenna with the truth about her behavior. Sadness because this conversation probably marks the end of any possibility of reconciliation. But maybe that's for the best. Sophie was right. Love is supposed to mean you don't hurt people on purpose, and Jenna has been hurting us on purpose for months. Now it's time to return the favor. Saturday arrives with perfect weather for an outdoor party. Mrs. Peterson has transformed her backyard into a showcase with string lights, borrowed tables, and enough food to feed half the town. The deck I built serves as the centerpiece, and I have to admit it looks impressive surrounded by her carefully planned decorations. Sophie helps me get ready, choosing my best casual shirt and insisting I use the cologne she bought me for Father's Day. She's excited about the party, but also nervous about whether Jenna will show up. "Do you think Mom will come?" she asks for the third time while I'm getting dressed. "I don't know, kiddo, but either way, we're going to have a good time and show everyone what great work we do together." "Will people ask about the separation?" "Some might. If they do, just tell them it's complicated adult stuff and you'd rather talk about something else. Most people will respect that." "What if they ask you?" "I'll tell them the truth, that your mom and I are working through some problems and we're both focused on making sure you're okay." Sophie nods, satisfied with this plan. We walk over to Mrs. Peterson's house together, and I'm immediately struck by how many people are already there. It looks like she invited everyone she's ever met. "Tom!" Mrs. Peterson rushes over to greet us. "This is wonderful. Everyone's been admiring the deck. You should be very proud." "Thank you. Sophie helped with a lot of the detail work." "Did you really?" Mrs. Peterson beams at Sophie. "How impressive. You must take after your father." We mingle with neighbors, and I'm pleasantly surprised by how supportive everyone is. Several people compliment my work and ask about upcoming projects. A few mention that they've been thinking about home improvements and would like to discuss hiring me. But I also notice the careful way people avoid mentioning Jenna. They ask about Sophie, about work, about everything except my wife's obvious absence. It's the kind of polite avoidance that confirms people know exactly what's going on. Around 7 o'clock, Jenna arrives. Alone, thankfully, but clearly uncomfortable. She's dressed more formally than the occasion requires, and she keeps checking her phone as if hoping for an excuse to leave early. Sophie runs to her immediately. "Mom, you came." "Of course I came. I wanted to see Dad's beautiful deck and spend time with you." Jenna hugs Sophie tightly, and for a moment I see genuine emotion in her face. Whatever else is happening, she does love our daughter. "Come see what we built," Sophie says, grabbing Jenna's hand and pulling her toward the deck. I watch from across the yard as Sophie proudly explains the construction process, pointing out details and describing how she helped with measurements and finishing work. Jenna listens attentively, asking questions and praising Sophie's contributions. "She's a good kid," says a voice behind me. I turn to find Mr. Patterson, our next-door neighbor for the past 8 years. "The best," I agree. This whole situation must be hard on her. We're managing, trying to keep things as normal as possible. Mr. Patterson nods. "For what it's worth, I think you're handling it with a lot of class. Not everyone would be so diplomatic. Sophie comes first. Everything else is just noise. Still, can't be easy watching your family fall apart while keeping a smile on your face." His sympathy is genuine, and it touches me more than I expected. I've been so focused on planning my response to Jenna's betrayal that I haven't allowed myself to fully process the grief of losing my marriage. "Some things can't be fixed," I say finally. "When that happens, you focus on protecting what you can and building something better." Sounds like you've got a good perspective on it. I'm trying. The party continues pleasantly until around 8:30 when Eric Lawson appears. He doesn't come through the front yard like a normal guest. Instead, he climbs over the back fence like he's sneaking into enemy territory. The effect on the party is immediate. Conversations stop mid-sentence as people notice the stranger who clearly doesn't belong. Jenna's face goes white when she spots him, and she hurries over to intercept him before he can approach the main group. I can't hear their conversation, but their body language tells the story. Jenna is angry and embarrassed. Eric is defensive and insistent. Sophie, who was showing off her workshop plans to Mrs. Peterson, notices the commotion and goes very still. "Who is that man?" Mrs. Peterson asks loudly enough for half the party to hear. "Nobody important," I say, but I'm already moving toward Jenna and Eric. I arrive just in time to hear Eric say, "I don't understand why you're being so secretive about this. We're together now. People need to accept that." "This isn't the time or place," Jenna hisses. "When is the time? When are you going to stop hiding our relationship like you're ashamed of it?" "I'm not ashamed. I'm trying to be respectful of my daughter and my neighbors." "Your daughter already knows about me, and your neighbors are going to find out eventually anyway." "Eric, please, just go home. We'll talk about this later." "No. I'm tired of being treated like your dirty secret. If we're going to be together, then we're going to be together publicly." This is the moment I've been waiting for. Eric has just given me the perfect opening to expose their relationship in front of the entire neighborhood, with Jenna's obvious discomfort making it clear that she knows this is inappropriate. "Is there a problem here?" I ask, approaching them with a friendly smile. Eric turns to face me, and I get my first close look at Jenna's boyfriend. He's handsome, in an artificial way, with the kind of aggressive confidence that probably works well in sales, but comes across as arrogant in social situations. "You must be Tom," he says, extending his hand. "I'm Eric Lawson. I've heard a lot about you." I don't shake his hand. Instead, I look at Jenna. "I thought we agreed you were coming alone." "I did come alone. Eric decided to surprise me." "By climbing over Mrs. Peterson's fence?" Eric's face flushes. "The front yard was crowded. I thought this would be less disruptive." "Less disruptive would have been staying home." "Look, I understand this is awkward, but Jenna and I are together now. People are going to have to get used to it." "Are you?" I ask Jenna. "Together now?" She looks trapped, glancing between Eric and the crowd of neighbors who are now openly staring at our conversation. "Tom, can we not do this here?" "Do what? Have an honest conversation about the status of our marriage?" "I think that's exactly what we should do here, in front of our friends and neighbors who have been wondering why my wife moved out." "This isn't fair." "What isn't fair? Asking you to be honest about your relationship with Eric? Or expecting your boyfriend to show basic respect for our daughter and our community?" The word boyfriend hangs in the air like a challenge. Eric straightens up, apparently deciding to claim his territory. "Yes, I'm Jenna's boyfriend. We've been together for several months, and we're very happy. I know this is uncomfortable for you, but you're going to have to accept reality." "Reality," I repeat. "Okay, let's talk about reality." I turn to address the crowd of neighbors, who have abandoned all pretense of not listening. Since we're being honest, I should probably clarify the situation for everyone. Jenna and I are separated because she's been having an affair with Eric here. They've been meeting at hotels, living together in his apartment, and lying about it for months. I found out by accident, and when I confronted Jenna, she decided she needed space to figure out what she wanted. The silence is deafening. Jenna looks mortified, Eric looks angry, and Sophie has disappeared entirely, probably back to the house to avoid witnessing her parents' public humiliation. Now Eric has decided that their relationship should be public, despite the fact that we're not actually divorced yet, and this is a party celebrating work I did for neighbors who have been part of our lives for years. "Tom, stop," Jenna pleads. "Stop what?" "Telling the truth? You wanted honesty, remember?" Eric steps forward, his face red with anger. "You don't have the right to humiliate Jenna like this." "I'm not humiliating anyone. I'm just providing context for your dramatic entrance and your announcement that people need to accept your relationship. You're being vindictive and cruel. I'm being factual. You're the one who climbed over a fence to crash a neighborhood party and demand recognition for an affair that broke up a 12-year marriage. Your marriage was already over. According to who? You? The man who specializes in breaking up other people's families?" This hits home. Eric's eyes narrow. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know about your pattern, Eric. The restaurant owner, the divorce attorney, the city council member's wife. You have a type, and it's not single women. You don't know what you're talking about. I know you've been flagged by the building department for questionable inspection reports. I know you target married women with useful connections, and I know you're planning to use my professional network to expand your house-flipping business." Eric goes very still. "Who told you that? Does it matter? What matters is that everyone here now understands exactly what kind of man my wife chose over her family." "That's enough." Jenna finally finds her voice. "Both of you stop this right now." But it's too late. The damage is done. Eric's reputation is destroyed, Jenna's affair is completely public, and their relationship has been exposed as the sordid, calculated betrayal it really is. "I think," says Mrs. Peterson in a voice that could freeze water, "that some people should leave my property immediately." Eric looks around at the hostile faces surrounding him and apparently decides discretion is the better part of valor. "This isn't over," he says to me. "Yes, it is," I reply calmly. "It's very much over." He stalks toward the fence, presumably to exit the same way he entered. Jenna follows him, but stops at the edge of the yard. "I need to find Sophie," she says. "She's probably at our house. This is exactly why I asked you to come alone." "You planned this. You knew he would show up." "I hoped he wouldn't, but I prepared for the possibility that he might do exactly what he did, demand public recognition for your affair at the worst possible moment." "You humiliated me in front of everyone I know." "No, Jenna, you humiliated yourself. I just provided the facts when your boyfriend decided to make a scene." She stares at me for a long moment, and I see something in her eyes I haven't seen in months. Uncertainty. For the first time since this whole mess started, Jenna looks like she's questioning her choices. I never wanted it to happen like this. Then you should have thought about that before you started sneaking around with a man who makes a hobby of destroying marriages. Eric is exactly what I said he is, and now everyone knows it. Jenna turns and walks toward our house, presumably to find Sophie and attempt some kind of damage control. I watch her go, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. The party breaks up quickly after that, with neighbors offering quiet words of support as they leave. Mrs. Peterson is the last to approach me. "I'm sorry that happened at my party," she says. "I'm the one who should apologize. That wasn't how I wanted the evening to end." "Nonsense. That man had no business being here, and everyone knows it. You handled yourself with dignity." "Thank you." "Tom, can I give you some advice?" "Always." "Don't let this make you bitter. You're a good man, and Sophie needs you to stay that way." Her words hit deeper than I expected. In my focus on exposing Eric and Jenna's betrayal, I've been walking a fine line between justice and revenge. Mrs. Peterson is reminding me which side of that line I need to stay on. I'll try to remember that. Good. Now go find your daughter. She's probably confused and scared, and she needs her father to help her make sense of all this. I find Sophie in her workshop, sitting on the floor surrounded by her building plans. She's not crying, but her face is pale and her hands are shaking slightly. "Hey, kiddo, you okay?" "Is that him? Eric?" "Yeah, that's him. He seems like a jerk." "He's not a good person, no." "Why does Mom like him?" It's a question I've been asking myself for weeks. Sometimes people make choices that don't make sense to the people who love them. Your mom is going through something right now, and she's not thinking clearly. "Are you going to get divorced now?" "Probably. Is that okay with you?" Sophie considers this seriously. "Will I still get to live with you?" "As much as you want. Always." "Then it's okay. I don't want Mom to be sad, but I don't want you to be sad either, and if you can't both be happy together, then maybe you should be happy apart." My 12-year-old daughter has just articulated something it took me months to understand. Sometimes love means letting go, even when it hurts. "You're pretty smart, you know that?" "I get it from my dad." We sit together in comfortable silence, looking at her workshop plans and avoiding the chaos of emotions swirling around us. Tomorrow, I'll have to deal with the aftermath of tonight's confrontation. I'll have to navigate the legal process of divorce, figure out custody arrangements, and help Sophie adjust to a new normal. But tonight, I'm just grateful to be sitting in a room I built with my daughter, surrounded by plans for things we're going to create together. Whatever else falls apart, this foundation is solid, and that's enough to build on. The aftermath of the party spreads through town like ripples in a pond. By Monday morning, everyone knows about Jenna's affair, Eric's pattern of targeting married women, and the spectacular way their relationship was exposed. My phone rings constantly with calls from friends offering support, potential clients wanting to hire the contractor who stood up to his cheating wife, and unfortunately, reporters from the local newspaper who somehow got wind of the story. I ignore the reporters, but take the client calls. Business has never been better, which is ironic considering my personal life has never been worse. Sophie handles the attention with remarkable grace. When classmates ask about her parents' divorce, she simply says it's complicated adult stuff and changes the subject. When teachers express concern, she assures them she's fine and has plenty of support at home. Jenna, on the other hand, seems to be falling apart. She calls Tuesday evening, crying and incoherent. "I made a mistake," she sobs into the phone. "Eric isn't who I thought he was." "What happened?" "He's been lying to me about everything. His business, his finances, his feelings for me. He only wanted to use me to get to your professional contacts." I could point out that I tried to warn her about this, but there's no satisfaction in being right about something that's causing my daughter's mother this much pain. "Where are you?" "At my sister's house. I can't go back to the apartment. Eric changed the locks." "He what?" "He said since I embarrassed him at the party, he doesn't want to see me anymore. He kept all my stuff and changed the locks. I have nowhere to go." The situation is worse than I expected. Eric hasn't just abandoned Jenna, he's essentially stolen her belongings and left her homeless. "What about your things?" "He won't let me get them. Says I can pick up my clothes next week, but everything else stays because I contributed to the household. That's theft. I can't prove anything. The lease is in his name, and I was stupid enough to let him convince me to put some of my furniture and electronics in his name for tax purposes." Eric is even more calculating than I realized. He's been systematically positioning himself to take everything from Jenna while giving her no legal recourse. "Do you want me to call him?" "Would you? I know I don't deserve your help, but I don't know what else to do." "I'll see what I can do." After hanging up, I sit in my kitchen thinking about the situation. Part of me wants to let Jenna deal with the consequences of her choices without my intervention. She made her bed with Eric. Let her lie in it. But Sophie loves her mother, and my daughter doesn't deserve to watch Jenna self-destruct because she was manipulated by a professional predator. I call Eric's number, not sure what I'm going to say. Well, he answers on the second ring. If it isn't the vindictive ex-husband. We need to talk. No, we don't. I have nothing to say to you. This is about Jenna's belongings. What about them? She contributed them to our household. Now that she's no longer part of the household, they stay with me. That's not how the law works, Eric. Prove it. She can't afford a lawyer, and you're not married to her anymore. This isn't your problem. Actually, we're still married. The divorce isn't final yet. Semantics. Legal reality. Which means I have standing to file a police report for theft of marital property. There's a pause. You wouldn't. Try me. I've got nothing to lose at this point, and I know enough about your business practices to make your life very complicated if you want to play games. What do you want? I want you to let Jenna get her personal belongings. Clothes, photos, jewelry, anything that was hers before she moved in with you. And if I don't? Then I make some phone calls. To the building department about those inspection reports. To your previous girlfriends about your pattern of financial manipulation. To the real estate board about your ethics violations. You can't prove any of that. I don't have to prove it. I just have to raise enough questions to make your life miserable while the investigations are ongoing. Another pause, longer this time. Fine, she can get her stuff, but I want her out of my life completely after this. That's the idea. And I want you to back off. No more harassment, no more threats. As long as you stay away from my family, we have no reason to interact. Deal. I call Jenna back and tell her she can retrieve her belongings tomorrow. She's so grateful she starts crying again. Tom, I'm so sorry for everything. I know I don't deserve your help. You're right, you don't. But Sophie deserves to have her mother stable and safe, so I'm helping for her sake. I understand, and thank you. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Find an apartment, I guess. Try to rebuild my life. What about work? I still have my job, barely. My boss is not happy about all the publicity, but he's giving me another chance. That's something. Tom? Do you think... Is there any possibility that we could try again? I know I messed up terribly, but maybe we could go to counseling, or... No. The word comes out harder than I intended, but I don't soften it. The trust is broken beyond repair, and I'm not interested in trying to rebuild something that was fundamentally flawed to begin with. I understand, she says quietly. I just had to ask. Focus on getting your life back together. Sophie needs at least one parent who has their act together. I will, I promise. Wednesday evening, Richie calls with an update on Eric's situation. Guy's in free fall, he reports cheerfully. The building department opened an investigation into his inspection reports. 3 of his previous girlfriends have filed complaints with various agencies, and his real estate license is under review. That was fast. Small town, long memories. Once people started talking, all kinds of stories came out. Turns out Eric's been pulling shady stuff for years, but nobody wanted to be the first to complain. What about his house flipping business? Stuck. Nobody wants to work with him now, and his financing has run out. Jenny heard he's trying to sell his current projects just to cover his debts. The speed of Eric's downfall is almost breathtaking. Within a week, he's gone from confident predator to desperate pariah. Any word on how he's handling it? Not well. He's been calling around town, trying to find allies, or at least neutral parties. But he burned too many bridges. Even people who don't know you personally are disgusted by what he did. Good. There's one more thing. Jenny heard he's planning to leave town. Apparently, he's got some kind of opportunity in another state. Running away? Looks like it. Can't say I blame him. His reputation here is completely destroyed. The news should make me feel victorious, but instead I just feel tired. Eric's destruction doesn't undo the damage he caused to my family. It doesn't erase the months of lies and betrayal, or the pain Sophie experienced watching her parents' marriage fall apart. But it does provide a sense of justice. Eric targeted vulnerable women and destroyed families for his own gain. Now he's facing the consequences of those choices. Thursday afternoon, I'm working on a kitchen renovation when my phone rings. It's Jenna, and she sounds panicked. Tom, I need help. Eric is at my sister's house demanding to talk to me. He's been drinking, and he's scaring Linda's kids. Did you call the police? Linda doesn't want to involve them. Her husband is deployed, and she's worried about how it would look. Where are you? Hiding upstairs with the kids, but he won't leave, and he's getting more aggressive. I check the time. Sophie won't be home from school for 2 hours, and Richie is working on another job across town. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Tom, be careful. He's really angry, and I don't know what he might do. Just stay upstairs until I get there. Linda's house is in a subdivision about 20 minutes from downtown. I can hear Eric shouting before I even get out of my truck. He's standing in the front yard, yelling at the house and gesturing wildly. Eric, I call out as I approach. He spins around, and I can see he's been drinking heavily. His eyes are red, his clothes are disheveled, and he's swaying slightly. You, he snarls. This is all your fault. What's all my fault? My business, my reputation, my life. You destroyed everything. I didn't destroy anything. I just told people the truth about what you do. You vindictive piece of... He lunges at me, but his coordination is impaired by alcohol, and I easily sidestep him. Eric, you need to leave. You're scaring children, and you're trespassing. I'm not leaving until I talk to Jenna. She owes me an explanation. She doesn't owe you anything. You used her, lied to her, and threw her away when she became inconvenient. That's not true. Then why did you change the locks? Why did you keep her belongings? Why are you here drunk and threatening instead of trying to work things out like an adult? He doesn't have an answer for that. Instead, he takes another swing at me, this one more coordinated. I block it and grab his arm, using his momentum to spin him around and pin him against my truck. This ends now, I tell him. You're going to get in your car and drive away. You're not going to contact Jenna again, you're not going to come back here, and you're not going to cause any more problems for my family. Or what? Or I call the police and have you arrested for trespassing, harassment, and assault. Then I make sure everyone in your new town knows exactly what kind of man they're dealing with. You can't follow me forever. I don't need to. Your reputation will follow you just fine on its own. I release him and step back. He straightens his clothes and tries to regain some dignity, but the effect is ruined by his obvious intoxication and the fact that he just got manhandled by the husband of the woman he was trying to intimidate. This isn't over, he says, but there's no conviction in his voice. Yes, it is. It's been over since the moment you decided to climb over Mrs. Peterson's fence and make a scene at a neighborhood party. He gets in his car and drives away, weaving slightly as he navigates the residential streets. I wait until he's out of sight before going to the house. Jenna answers the door, still pale and shaken. Is he gone? He's gone, but you should probably stay somewhere else tonight, just in case he decides to come back. I'll take the kids to my mom's, says Linda, Jenna's sister. Thank you for coming, Tom. I was really scared. No problem. Eric's leaving town anyway, so this should be the end of it. Jenna walks me to my truck. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I never thought he would get violent, threaten children. This is who he's always been, Jenna. You just didn't want to see it. I know. I was so stupid. You were lonely and vulnerable, and he took advantage of that. It doesn't make you stupid. It makes him a predator. Do you really think it's over? With Eric. Yes, he's got bigger problems now than bothering you. What about us? The divorce? We'll work out the details. Custody, property division, all of it. But we'll do it civilly, for Sophie's sake. She's lucky to have you as a father. She's lucky to have both of us, even if we can't be together anymore. I drive home thinking about the strange turns life takes. 6 months ago, I thought I had a solid marriage and a secure future. Now I'm divorced in all but name, my wife's affair is public knowledge, and I've just physically confronted her ex-boyfriend in a suburban driveway. But I also have a closer relationship with my daughter than ever before, a thriving business built on the respect of my community and the knowledge that I handled an impossible situation with as much dignity as I could manage. Sophie is waiting for me when I get home, working on her latest project in her workshop. How was school? I ask. Good. Mrs. Chen said she wants to hire you to build a deck like Mrs. Peterson's. That's great. What are you building? A jewelry box for Mom. I thought she might need something nice when she gets her own place. My daughter's capacity for forgiveness and love continues to amaze me. Despite everything that's happened, she's still thinking about her mother's needs. That's very thoughtful of you. Dad, are you okay? You look tired. Just dealing with some adult stuff. Nothing for you to worry about. Is it about Eric? How did you? Never mind. Yes, it was about Eric, but that's all finished now. Good. I didn't like him. Why not? He had mean eyes, and he looked at our house like he wanted to take it apart. Sometimes I think Sophie sees things more clearly than any adult I know. That evening, as we worked together on her jewelry box, I realized that despite everything I've lost, I've also gained something valuable. The crisis stripped away all the pretense and showed me what really matters, my relationship with my daughter, the respect of my community, and the satisfaction of building things that last. The walls of my marriage came down, but the foundation of my life is stronger than ever, and that's something I can build on.